It's Friday, and that means it's time for the RPG Rundown weekly news video. Dimension 20 has addressed a surge pricing situation with tickets for their 2025 live one-shot show at Madison Square Garden. Some fans wound up paying up to $1,500 for a ticket on the day that ticket sales opened. The group says this is the result of two things. One is they simply didn't expect to do that well with ticket sales for their first show at this iconic and storied venue, and the other is they were unaware that a surge pricing model was on by default through Live Nation, a division of Ticketmaster. They now know it's something they can opt out of, and say they've now opted out of it for this show and will do so for any future events. I gotta be honest, it's hard for me to find a joke here because I just love that they're looking after their fans in this day and age of gigs and gouging. Cryptozoic Entertainment has launched a Kickstarter for a tabletop RPG based on the award-winning series Adventure Time. The system is a very expanded version of D&D 5e, including their so-called STORY, or story system, of creating a character. Story stands for species, talent, occupation, resources, and yonder. D&D itself has elements that can spell story too, like satanic panic, trolling fans, overpowered builds, revision treadmills, and, I guess, yonder too? Modiphius, in recognition of the new Fallout TV series, put their Fallout tabletop RPG book on sale, resulting in quite a boost in business. The print version of the rulebook, the GM's toolkit, and the player bundle are all now sold out. You can still get PDF copies, of course, because in these times, it's good to have an escape from our current paradise into some inconceivable dystopian nightmare. This summer, Free League will release a Moria expansion for both their One Ring game as well as its companion 5e system, Lord of the Rings role-playing. The supplement will cover the ancient seat of dwarven kings in Middle-earth with patrons, landmarks, foes, encounters, and treasures, providing the materials on which to build anything from a one-shot adventure to a campaign. Not included in this set are roaring fires, malt beer, and red meat off the bone. Paizo, publishers of the popular Pathfinder game system and setting, have announced plans to kill one of the gods of that setting, Gorum, the Lord in Iron. They've said that Gorum will, quote, die on screen as part of the War of Immortals ongoing event. This will take place in October when Paizo releases The War of Immortals, a 240-page rulebook, which will also include two new classes, the Animist and the Exemplar. Leading up to this, several other books and adventure paths will lay the groundwork for this final conflict. After Gorum's death, a supernatural rain of his godly blood and essence and even shards of his armor will sweep the land in a plague-like phenomenon not unlike the release of D&D's 4th edition. Venerable publisher Steve Jackson Games announced a disappointing year in 2023, stating that while cash flow was acceptable, 2023 will have to be regarded as a rebuilding year and expectations should now be adjusted. Jackson himself mentioned the difficulty with rising printing costs, as well as saying that there's a downside to what he called a golden age for gamers, which is that there's a lot of competition now for those hobby gaming dollars. Among several well-known flagship games, Jackson publishes the role-playing system known as GURPS, which, like Adventure's story feature, is an acronym, but in this case doesn't spell an actual word, but something more like a sound you make an hour or two after lunch. Cynthia Williams has resigned from her post as president of Wizards of the Coast and will step down at the end of this month. She held the position for 2 years after the former president, Chris Cox, became CEO of parent company Hasbro. Williams had previously served at Microsoft as general manager and VP of the gaming ecosystem commercial team, whatever that means, for the Xbox division, in line with Wizards' direction during this time toward increasing digital publishing and products. Hasbro currently has no appointed successor for this role, although it seems like the parting is amicable, as far as we know, and we mostly know that because no Pinkerton agents had to remove her from the building. I'm Dave, and this has been your News for the Week from RPG Rundown.